Hello. Good morning, Danang. Good morning, world. All right. See, some are excited, some are sleeping. This light is a bit too strong. But anyways, wow. You guys excited? Yeah. All right. You guys excited? Yes. There you go. Awesome. So, one of my principles of life is that life is a buffet. Not only for us to try all these delicious dishes from around the world, but also experience all the magic that the world and life have to offer us. Life has thrown so much at me. I've been to hell and back many, many, many times. I've received it all, from running out of money, living on $20 a week in Hong Kong, living on a couch for months at a time, almost homeless, credit cards canceled, credit destroyed, depressed, broken, lost, even at times suicidal. Has this ever happened to you guys when no matter what you tried, nothing worked? Can you relate to that? Thankfully, life has also been pretty good to me. I've been blessed in many, many countless ways. From world travel, adventure, living in many countries around the world, purpose, passion, doing what I love doing, impact, influence, and most importantly, great health, vitality, and energy. I've been from the highest of the highs to the lowest of the lows and back many, many times. Well, this is what life is about. This is what I mean when life is a buffet. A roller coaster of wonderful experiences, powerful emotions, and of course, delicious dishes from around the world. And this is what I want to talk to you guys today and share how I've been able to navigate this beautiful buffet and roller coaster in my way, but specifically focus on two key principles of how I've been able to not only survive, but what literally changed, transformed, and even at times saved my life. In 2019, I was living in Hong Kong, trying to build a business. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And as a result of that, I literally ran out of money. I was living on $20 a week in one of the most expensive cities in the world. For those of you who've been to Hong Kong, you can relate with that, where even a basic meal is just $15 to $20 on the low end. I was surviving on instant noodles, bread, sardines, and the free coffee, tea, and snack at the co-working space I was spending most of my time. If it wasn't for a friend of mine who allowed me to crash at his place for a year for free, I would have been on the streets. It was not a good place to be. My happy moment of the week was going to McDonald's once a week and getting the cheapest item on the menu, the cheeseburger combo. That was my happy moment, my splurge moment of the week. Yet, at the same time, I was having a great time. I was hosting events, talking to events, meeting, networking, and connecting with very powerful, inspiring, and successful entrepreneurs from around the world. See this picture? That's me in Hong Kong. I was the guy with a three-piece suit, but no money in my pocket. Nobody knew that, except my buddy Lucien. So how is that possible? How is it possible for me to be broke, living on $20 a week, sleeping on a couch for months at a time, yet happy at the same time? How is that possible? That doesn't compute, because society tells us and conditions us that we need money to be happy. Yet here I was, no money, broker than broke, yet happy. How's that possible? That was the first lesson for me to learn, that true happiness comes from within. That it's not money that makes you happy, because if I can be happy sleeping on the couch, literally eating whatever I could, even sometimes leftovers, then there's nothing that can stop you. You say, is this the worst that can happen? And that's usually what's mostly stopping people, the fear of failure. And here I was with nothing, but yet I was happy. Oops, always forgetting about this. Quite a few times during that time, I was asking myself the same question over and over and over again. Why? Why me? Why is this happening? What is happening? What did I do to deserve this? And what I'm missing, because I was always surrounded with successful people. I knew what to do, but nothing was working for me. Nothing was working, especially nothing was working for me. And that, my friends, was the single most painful and frustrating part. Why is it not working for me? Why? Why? And even more, why is it happening to you? Or even maybe, why is happening that to all of us? Can you guys relate with that? No matter what you tried or did, nothing was working. Especially for you. And you wonder, what am I missing? Is something wrong with me? But that's not the case. I find myself at the ultimate crossroad in life. I lost track of how many times during that time in Hong Kong, I would wake up in the morning with no desire to get out of bed. And quite a few nights I would literally cry myself to sleep. It got really dark at one point. I was starting to doubt myself, even wondering, if this is life, is it worth it for me to keep fighting? I started wondering if I had it in me to keep fighting. A point came that I was literally considering, hey, should I keep fighting a bit more? Or is it time for me to just give up, call it a day or night, and just check out? Literally, I didn't. And what saved me was this thing called the pandemic came. And that was, for me, the blessing in disguise, because I remember back then in Hong Kong, as a non-resident and not having any insurance, the cost for hospitalization was $1,000 a day if anything were to happen to me. Of course, I didn't have that money or any money at the time, and I didn't want to burden my family back home in Canada, or my buddy in Hong Kong had already been tremendously generous with me by allowing me to stay at this place for a year for free. So I had the genius idea that, hey, let me go back to Canada. But the problem was, I didn't have a credit card. So I had to ask my sister to book me a ticket. I'll never forget that day, Tuesday, the 25th of February of 2020, landing at the Toronto Pearson International Airport with only $200 to my name. That's not a good place to be, at all. But yet deep down, I knew that I could get out of it, but I had no idea how. And that was my next learning, that everything happens for a reason and at the right time, and everything happens for you, not to you. At the same time, so as I went to Canada, it was very welcome, because I needed to be back home after 5 years living overseas in Asia. I wanted to be with family, spend some time with family. That gave me an amazing opportunity to reconnect with my siblings, to clear some issues, so that we can bond even deeper. But more specifically, more importantly, that was the golden opportunity for me to spend some quality, precious time with my father just before he passed away. And December of 2020, he was diagnosed with cancer. And then in July of 2021, he ascended. It was very important for me to be there with him, spend those few months, precious months, to really reconnect with him, help him when he needed me the most, and be here with him when he needed me the most. So that was, for me, an absolute blessing in disguise, because if it wasn't for the pandemic, I would have probably been stuck in Hong Kong. I would miss those precious opportunities to be with my father. So again, everything happens for a reason and at the right time. And nothing happens to you, but for you. Oops. At the same time, I was going through my spiritual awakening without knowing it. And I started to understand a few powerful principles I just mentioned, that everything happens for you at the right time. Everything happens for a reason everything happens for a reason at the right time, and nothing happens to you but for you. But then I understood two other tremendously powerful principles that would end up not only changing and transforming, but saving my life. And those were the first one was understanding the tremendous power of questions and asking the right question. Before that, when something bad happened to me and I was going through some tough challenges, I used to ask the wrong questions, disempowering questions such as, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why? Whine and complain. And then I realized that I need to ask better, different, more empowering questions such as, what is this trying to teach me? What is the lesson for me to learn to that? For example, when I was in Hong Kong, no money yet happy, that taught me that true happiness comes from within, not from outside. The second principle that completely changed my life was realizing and understanding and embracing to listen to my inner voice, to my hunches, to my gut feelings, to my intuition, because that's our soul talking to you. And our soul has two main purposes, two main tasks: to protect you, guide you, protect you, keep you safe and alive, and guide you to the next phase of your journey. Exactly 4 years ago, late July, early August 2020, having a late lunch on a Saturday afternoon with family, my father, my brother, his wife, kids, two sisters, brother-in-law, our dog, all enjoying a beautiful homemade meal. All of a sudden, out of the blue, an idea pops into my head. Start a podcast. What do you mean start a podcast? Kept on coming for weeks, until finally, in October, mid-October, right around the corner of my birthday, I started my podcast. Unbeknownst to me, that happened to be the turning point for my life. Back then, I didn't know it, but that was what really opened up the gates to me, allowed me to get out of, literally, of a hole. And at the time, I didn't know it. Oops, sorry. If I were to look back at my life and look at the three most influential, impactful, and life-changing decisions I've made over the last 3 or 5 years, they've all come as a result of me implementing those two things: asking better, more empowering questions, and listening to my inner voice. And those three decisions are starting my podcast in October of 2020, launching my academy at the end of November 2021, and then sharing my story, my first book, in March of 2022. These have completely changed my life in ways I couldn't even imagine. The reason I'm here today is because of that. And once I understood that, there was no stopping. And today, if I were to summarize my life, summarize where I am, the season of my life that I'm in, I could summarize it with one word: blessed. I'm blessed in many, many ways. I'm in the best financial shape I've ever been in my life. I have a very successful, profitable, impactful podcast. I've become in the process 4-time #1 international best-selling author. I have a thriving international academy. I've made wonderful, beautiful friendships and connections from around the world. I'm no longer shy, timid, afraid, playing small. I found my purpose, most importantly, found my purpose, my voice, my mission, my reason of being here. I found, as the Japanese would say, my ikigai, the reason of being here. And most importantly, every day I'm becoming the person I was meant to be in this lifetime. Now, how can you and every single one of us implement these two life-changing principles into our lives? First of all, doesn't matter what you're going through. Always look at things from this perspective. What is this trying to teach me? What is the lesson for me to learn to that? And not ask why. Because when you ask why, and you complain, you're digging yourself a bigger hole. But when you ask, what is this trying to teach me? It elevates you. It shows you what this is, which is a beautiful gift from the universe to uplift you, to allow you to see it for what it is, a beautiful gift. The second way is, always learn to listen to your inner voice, that gut feeling. And that inner voice can happen any moment. You can be cooking, doing dishes, taking a shower, being in a meeting, sleeping, driving, whatever. When it happens, stop what you're doing, as long as it's safe. Don't stop in the middle of the highway. Listen to it, because that's your soul talking to you. and implement on that. For example, I implement these two things every day of my life. When I'm meeting someone, whether it's for the first time or the 220th time, if I get an off vibe from them, I simply politely excuse myself. Or when I'm looking at a new project, a new proposition, whatever, I always look at my inner voice, my gut feeling. If I get a bad vibe, I just reject it. And that saved me countless times. Also, find to connect with your higher self, whether it's through meditation, prayer, incantation, music, writing, speaking, sports, acting, whatever. Find your outlet. For me, it's been through, I love going on long walks, and I love the water. Maybe in a past life, I was a dolphin. So I love going to the beach, jump under the water, hold my breath, and before I do, I set my intention and say, universe, guide me, inspire me, show me the way. Not every time, mind you, but quite often than not, I get inspiration, I get answers. Or when you're facing a difficult decision, you don't know what to do, which way to go. Learn to connect with yourself. Yes, there is a need for expert external advice. Yes, absolutely. But the ultimate wisdom comes from within. Learn to connect with yourself. And once you do, then you will be able to fully navigate this beautiful buffet that life is, so you can also make the most of it and navigate this roller coaster of beautiful experiences, powerful emotions, and wonderful, unforgettable experiences. Thank you very much.